about Europe, I want to bring you to Bulgaria, in a sense, because we have a new government, a newly elected government after several unsuccessful elections, which has shown an interest to taking the step to joining the EU member area, the eurozone, and accepting the euro as a national currency. So I wanted to ask you, because you're considered as the father of the Bulgarian currency board, implemented in '97. I wanted to ask you, what should the Bulgarian government do with the currency board? Should it be reformed? Should it be fully ditched, removed? What would you do? What would your advice to the Bulgarian government be in this situation with everything you know about the current state of affairs in the eurozone, the European Central Bank, and the negatives that can follow after we join the eurozone and accept the euro?
So this is let me be first make kind of a categoric statement, and that is I am totally against the Bulgarians getting rid of the currency board and formally joining the eurozone. They are de facto part of the eurozone anyway because of the currency board. So the lev really is a clone of the euro, and things in Bulgaria from a monetary point of view already shadow what's going on with the euro, and the system needs no repairing. It works exactly as I originally designed the thing. It's never been a problem. It's gone through all kinds of crises: the Russian ruble crisis, the commercial bank crisis, you name it, the Great Recession, all of these things. It's done very well. Now why I am against it, the primary reason is that you retain monetary sovereignty by retaining the currency board. Now that means you were talking about the euro and the dollar. What if the euro really would become really bad? You can easily change the anchor of the currency board in Bulgaria to the dollar. Well, if you're in the eurozone, they're not going to let you out. You're trapped. You're going to have to stay in. So that's one thing. You have freedom and flexibility that is a very valuable thing. The next thing is that the hard budget constraint provided by the currency board, the fact that the currency board can't extend credit to the fiscal authorities in Bulgaria is an extremely valuable thing, because if you look at all the governments and all the politicians in Bulgaria, they all more or less have been fiscally prudent. And that's why the debt to GDP ratio in Bulgaria is the second lowest of any country in the EU. So that gets to the third point, and the key to the whole thing is corruption. Corruption, as I've always said, and I have firsthand experience observing this, is the biggest problem in Bulgaria. And it would be much bigger if you got rid of the currency board, because you would end up like Greece. And that is, the politicians would have the idea, oh, well, we don't have to worry about things. We can get a little reckless. There's what we call a moral hazard built into the eurozone. We can spend a little more. After all, Brussels will bail us out. If we really get into trouble, Brussels will bail us out. Yes, if you entered the eurozone, the central bank technically couldn't make loans to the fiscal authorities, the same as with the currency board. But you would have a moral hazard problem if you were in the eurozone, because the politicians would think in the back of their mind, Brussels will bail us out. That's exactly what the Greeks thought. And what
free money.
Greeks. So the new government is illogical. It doesn't impress me at all. I think you got a bunch of young, smart guys, running around as if they know what they're doing. I think they're clueless. They're clueless because their big banner, they say we're anti-corruption, anti-corruption. If they were anti-corruption, they couldn't be pro-euro. They say they're pro-euro. That's pro-corruption. You're going to have more corruption.
Yeah.
Why are they so clueless? They're clueless because They have the begging bowl in Brussels. They want the money in Brussels. They are going to do whatever Brussels tells them to do. And Brussels is telling them, sending a signal that they want them to go into the Eurozone. And that's the end of the story. They have no ideas. The idea that you have a bunch of young people, reformers, and so they are just doing exactly what Brussels is telling them to do. Now, this is unfortunately, because I actually know Bulgaria pretty well, and its history I know it quite well, and they always are in that kind of subservient position.
Yeah.
And that's the political class in Bulgaria is always waiting for orders from somebody who is in charge, who is telling us what to do, and we will do what they're telling us to do. That's the Bulgarian political culture, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I see it, because I agree with all of your arguments, and the way I see it is that keeping the currency board is a call option on long volatility if something bad happens to the eurozone. If a systemic crisis happens, we have a way out with our own currency, keeping it with us, which is something that other countries like Greece and Portugal won't have as a way back, right?
Absolutely. Let's put it this way. In the sense that you just described it, Miroslav, it's like buying a little insurance.
Mm.
It's always it's good to keep your options open and not you don't want to be under the boot of Brussels any more than you already are. So it doesn't make any sense. The lev is a clone of the euro. So and by the way, looking back, I think the only institution, post-communist institution, that has worked perfectly and is a credit to Bulgaria is what? It's the currency board.
Yeah.
And they should be doing what they do in Hong Kong. They should be selling. This is a great feature. Hong Kong, the currency board was put in 1983. It's worked perfectly through all kinds of crises, by the way. And mainland China, how did